Hello and welcome to the show. Round 13. So how are you all tonight? Are we good? Well, tonight's show, the theme of tonight's show is the power of the subconscious mind. And coming up on tonight's show, we have Graeme Harvey, who returns to the show. So later on, watch out for Graeme's interview. And we'll be talking to Graeme about the knowledge of the subconscious mind. Because if you've got some knowledge about your subconscious mind, you can use that to try and improve things like well-being or things that you want to manifest in your life. If you don't know how to use the subconscious mind, it can actually work against you. So watch out for that stuff coming up later on tonight. And already, tonight we have some of our raconteurs. Tonight we are joined by William Ritchie, Karsten Quisler, and Laura Binney. Welcome to the show, folks. Now, just to mention to you folks, our raconteurs are also celebrities in their own rights because Laura and Graeme, they run Glass Bullet Media Productions in Fife, and they've just had, correct me if I'm wrong, Laura, an SSPCA, which is an animal charity television advert. Their TV advert has gone out on television, mainstream television, this week. So, Laura, if you want to give us any more details about that, put it up on the message board there, and we can tell everyone about your successful second TV advert with the SSPCA, which is a really good cause. I'm very passionate about cruelty to animals. Not that I'm cruel to animals, but I get a bit upset quite often when I see cruelty to animals, and I like to do my bit for animal rescue services in my own spare time. Certainly, I don't produce TV adverts, but I like to get involved when I can. Well, when lockdown's over. Laura's saying Channel 4 to watch her advert, her SSPCA advert. And Laura, if you can tell us, fill us in on what days and times we can see your advert. Stick it up on the message board and for all of us to see. So, welcome to the show, everyone. If you're new to the show, this show is recorded to YouTube of the same channel name, Vincent Anthony Media. I'll just bring up my little logo here, and you can go on YouTube, search for Vincent Anthony Media, and you can see tonight's show once it's finished, and all our previous shows. It's a resource for you of mental health information. There's a lot of people out there suffering from stress, anxiety, depression during lockdown, and this show will provide a free resource of exercises and experts and theory and knowledge to help you deal with the effects that it's having on all of us. And also, I'd like to start with our announcements, as I do every week. And I'm currently affiliated with Ecamm. So if anyone's new to the show tonight and you're thinking, actually, I wouldn't mind doing my own live stream show on things that I'm passionate about. If you're a Mac user, you can go into my website, just there, vincentanthonymedia.com, and all my tabs are on the homepage. You can click on Ecamm, and that's you on your way to doing your own live stream shows if you're a Mac user. Also, if you're interested in doing aerial cinematography, again, click on my URL, click on the DJI tab, and that will take you to my recommended quadcopter that I like to use for travel adventure aerial cinematography for this show and for my other projects as well. And I like this particular model because it's so small and compact. Many times I've taken it up steep hillsides to do various video projects, and it's just a sweet machine that I think is an amazing device. And also, if you're a benefactor and you want to do something for mental health in the Kinross, Perth, Fife area, why not sponsor our show? We can put your logo up on the screen and advertise your company. Or you can go into our website again, vincentanthonymedia.com, and you can click to donate. And any money will be greatly appreciated, and I'll use it to maybe buy better sound recording equipment for our broadcasts, or use the money to improve technical capabilities compared to what I'm able to do at the moment. So that's our announcements. Coming up tonight, we'll be having some mindfulness gentle movement exercises. So you'll need to either get your yoga mats out, or if you don't have a yoga mat, just take your device next to your bed, stick it on your bedside table, and just use your bed as long as you've got something comfortable to lie down on. So that's coming up for tonight's gentle movement. So the theme tonight is it possible for you to create your own reality? Can you manifest things in your life that you want? Some people would say, is that even possible? Well, if you want my opinion, I believe that it is possible to try and influence the dice, if you like, to try and fall on six. There's no guarantee that will happen, but I believe if you do things like affirmations regularly every day, you can maybe influence the dice to land on that six if that's what you're looking for in life. Other people would say that our reality is predetermined, a subject which I'm personally fascinated in. It's a subject which I've studied at university, is called determinism, and that would suggest that everything that happens in the universe was destined to happen. It's going to happen, and no matter how much you try to make something happen or stop something from happening, if it's going to happen, it will happen. I'm kind of on the fence between the two. I personally do affirmations, and that's what I'm going to start talking to you tonight about, because it's easy to do. This is something you can do and you can try. But I would warn you that with affirmations, if you're trying to manifest something in your life, whether it's a new job, a holiday, a new house, a new car, whatever it is that you want, um, if you want to manifest that, it's not a quick. Affirmations are not a quick fix. They will not get you what you want tomorrow. Um, don't even think about trying to do it to win the lottery, because you'll be wasting your time as well. But I'm going to give you an example tonight of something to try and manifest if you want to try this out for yourself to see if it works for you. And I'm also going to go over some of the basic techniques to do affirmations. Okay? So before we speak to Graeme Harvey tonight about the power of the subconscious mind, I'm going to fill you in about affirmations, first of all. There is a technique, and it's all to do with working with your subconscious mind. There are two types of affirmations. There are verbal ones, and there are written ones. Okay? Now, I would say I've tried both. For me personally, sitting there doing verbal affirmations, for me personally, is a waste of time. So you are therefore better doing written affirmations. And I don't know why it's more powerful. It's something to do with the action of writing and the effect that it has on your brain. Something to do with the brain and the handwriting seems to somehow make that way of affirming what you want much more powerful. So I do written affirmations every day if I can, without fail. It takes me less time than it takes to make a cup of tea. Okay, so it will take less than, say, 5 minutes of your time. And I like to do my affirmations, my written affirmations, is the first thing I do every day in the morning. Sometimes I'm still in my pajamas, other times I'm dressed, but I do it first thing with a cup of tea because it sets me up with a positive mental attitude for the rest of my day. So if you're going to do affirmations, I would say, unless you've got a job to go to and you've got to get there for 8 o'clock in the morning, if you're lucky enough to be working from home, first thing you do is do your affirmations and do them every day without fail. And there's a technique to doing affirmations. So I'm just going to get my auto cue up just to make sure I don't forget to tell you some important aspects. But it's quite simple, but it requires repetition because the subconscious mind works with repetition. The brain creates neural pathways through repetition, through thinking the same thoughts over and over again, whether that's positive thoughts or negative thoughts. Okay, so repetition is the key. And I generally will write my affirmations, and I'll fill a side of A4. Now, a lot of you might be thinking, a side of A4? That's loads. It's not. It takes about 3.5, 4 minutes to do. And when you think of all the things that you do in your normal everyday uh, activities that takes longer than 4 minutes, you can do your affirmations quicker than it takes to make a cup of tea or go to the toilet, or things that we do every day. So it's not time consuming. And once you've done your affirmations, it's kind of like a mental endorphins that you get. You feel good. You feel like you've done a good brain workout as well. So how do you do written affirmations? There is a technique. So I've already mentioned repetition. You fill a side of A4, that should be enough for the average person. If you want to do more than A4, if you want to get an effect quicker, you might want to do more than one side of A4. But I find, let's not be extreme, let's have a happy medium and do one side for A4, which will take you approximately 3.5 to 4 minutes of your day. Okay, do them in the morning. I'd recommend do them in the morning because it sets you up with that positive mental attitude. Okay, so the other thing about the affirmations is you have to write them in the present tense, because we know from studies that the subconscious mind only really understands the present tense. If you start talking about past or future, it'll just confuse the subconscious mind, and you won't get your outcome that quickly. We don't know what the subconscious mind is. Is it physical? Is it not? Is it part of the brain? I personally think it could be part of the brain. I think it's part of the brain uh, structure, but it doesn't really matter. The fact is, we know it works. It's there. It's not completely imaginary. Okay? So when you're writing your affirmations, present tense, simple language. Okay? That's the second thing to remember. Okay? Use simple language. The subconscious understands simple commands much more easily than giving it a whole load of complicated sentences. Okay? So present tense, simple language. Okay, so for example, say for now if you read books, let's just key in our first image here. This is a book called The Secret. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about it. It's sold all around the world, bestseller. I've had my copy. I've now, I think I gave it to a charity shop after I finished reading it. But this book, and it's also a movie. I think the series is on YouTube as well, if you're curious to find out. But the secret, the essence of The Secret, is all about manifesting what you want in your life, and it is possible for you to attain what you want, but it definitely requires a positive mental attitude and never giving in, because if you have thoughts of giving in, that's going straight into your subconscious mind all the time. So with the subconscious, you should always trying to be correcting your thoughts with positive ones every time. Now that you have this knowledge that your subconscious mind is listening in, is watching all the time, and it has such a profound effect on your life, on your well-being as well, how you're feeling. So back to the example, you want to create a, let's say, a white feather. I think in the book The Secret, it might be in the book The Secret, it suggests if you want to try manifesting something to see if it works, create something simple like a white feather. Okay, so how would you write your affirmations for a white feather? Well, we've said present tense, simple language, repetition, fill a side of A4. So I don't actually do affirmations to create a white feather. I actually do not affirmations. I write affirmations every day to see if I can help improve my business. That's why I do them. That's the main thing that I write affirmations for. And I would say most definitely I'm certainly getting positive uh, results, positive manifestations as a result of it. I can't prove to you that it's the result of affirmations. All I'm saying is it's something that I do every day, and it sets my day off with a positive mental attitude, especially when it comes to business, especially during the current times where businesses have come to a halt. So, how would we do an affirmation for to manifest a white feather? Well, I've just written down an example of what I would write. Okay, so here we go. I would write, I have a wonderful, large, white feather before me. Abundance flows through me. Okay. Now, those words, I'll just read it again. I have a wonderful large white feather before me. Abundance flows through me. Okay. That's all in the present tense, and it's simple language. Okay. So I could easily fill a side of A4 with that in 3 or 4 minutes. And I would say most likely within 3 weeks or 3 months, I'd suddenly a white feather, a large white feather, would most likely manifest in front of me. Now the skeptics will say something like, "Oh well, there's a 50 to 1 chance. There's a 50-50 chance that that would happen anyway because most people live near birds and there's a lot of seagulls flying around. Blah 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 blah." This is just an example to give you. It doesn't have to be a white feather. It could be a BMW Z4 sports car if you want. It could be a new kitchen unit, it could be a new house, it could be a new job. Okay, so don't worry about skeptics saying, "Oh, this is the chances of that happening, or the mathematics show that this could easily happen." Blah blah blah. Yeah, try not to be skeptical, because if you're skeptical too much, that goes straight into your subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind will provide you with a skeptical reality if that's what you ask for. And there's that saying, be careful what you wish for. What that saying actually means is, yes, the power of affirmations can actually bring you what you want, but if you manifest what you want, is it really what you want? Will it really make you happy? I'm sure a nice holiday or a sports car or a nice new motorbike or an Oculus Quest would make us all happy, no doubt, in the current times. So now you know that's your technique on using the power of affirmations to create whatever you want. And there are more than written methods to manifest what you want. There are visual methods, such as using what are called vision boards. I've tried doing that. It appears to work. I have actually manifested a new car just from staring long enough at the image of what I desired, even although I had no money at the time to manifest that car. So, of course, it wasn't a quick fix again. It didn't manifest immediately. It manifested about 3 or 4 years later. But the image was there long enough to make that image become a reality. So that's affirmations. I hope I've explained it well enough. And if you've got any more questions about affirmations, this message box is there for you to ask questions. And if I can't answer immediately, I'll try and come back to you on another show with the answers that I've researched. So if you're all ready, I think what we'll do is we'll go into our gentle movement. Our gentle movement, which is all about coming out of thought, coming out of autopilot, and into your body for the next 12 minutes or so. Okay, because we feel stress in the body, and that's why when I used to instruct classes, we do gentle movement. We work with the body, and movement is an easier way to focus than staying still. So you can focus on your body, you can focus on the sounds. So you'll need your yoga mats, or bring your device next to your bed and use your bed. As long as you've got something comfortable to lie on, that's the main thing. So if you're all ready, I will run VT and we'll see you back in about 12 minutes and enjoy this Tibetan relaxation technique. Run VT. Now, in some of our classes, we can work with the mats. So this exercise is 3 combined into 1. We'll be doing a little bit of yoga combined with a Tibetan relaxation exercise, and we'll be including the body scan technique, which is a popular exercise in many mindfulness classes. Now, if you don't have a yoga mat, it's okay. You can do this on your bed as well. And this is easy to do. Practice this at home anytime you want. It's a very good relaxation technique. So, just get on your back. And I would also recommend for this exercise to have a blanket ready for the meditation at the end. Okay, so just lie down, just relax, and you're just going to let your arms come up and back, just observe how relaxing this is. Join in with me. I learned this technique from Master Sudish, who's my local yoga teacher. And just let the arms fall down to your sides. Just relax. Let all your muscles just flop down. Now we're going to start with our body scan technique. I want you to relax the muscles in your feet. And relax the muscles in your toes. Relax your feet. Relax. Moving up to the calf muscles. Relax your calf muscles. Moving up to your thighs. Relax your thighs and your quad muscles. Relax. Relax your legs. Any tension that you notice, just relax it. Moving up to your torso, relax the muscles in your stomach. And relax the muscles in your lower back. Moving up to the chest, relax your chest muscles. And relax your shoulders. Relax. Relax the muscles in your upper arms and relax the muscles in your lower arms. Relax the hands. Relax. Moving up to your head, relax the muscles in your face. And relax the muscles in your forehead. And relax the muscles in your scalp. Relax your whole body. Relax. If you notice any tension in your muscles, just let the muscles flop down and relax. Once your whole body's relaxed, all the muscles relaxed, bring your right knee up, as so. Then your left knee up. Arms up to apex. Now either stay where you are or come up for 20. Up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19, 20. Right leg down. Left leg down. Arms down. Right leg flat. Left leg flat. Relax. Round 2. Relax your feet, the muscles in your feet, and relax your legs. Relax your upper torso. Relax your shoulders. Relax your arms and your hands. Relax the muscles in your face. And relax the muscles in your scalp. Relax. Right leg up. Left leg up. Arms up to apex. stay where you are or come up for 20. Up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20. Right leg down. Left leg down. Arms down. Right leg flat. Left leg flat. Relax. Round 3. Body scan. Relax your feet and relax your legs. Relax your stomach muscles and relax your shoulders. Relax your arms and relax your hands. Relax the muscles in your face and relax the muscles in your forehead. Once you're totally relaxed, right leg up, left leg up. Arms up to apex. Stay where you are or come up for 20. Up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Right leg down. Left leg down. Arms down. Right leg flat. Left leg flat. Relax. Next round, relax your feet and relax your legs. Relax your upper torso and relax your arms. Relax your shoulders and relax the muscles in your face and relax the muscles in your scalp. Once your body's totally relaxed, right leg up, left leg up. Arms up to apex. Stay where you are or come up for 20. Up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Right leg down. Left leg down. Arms down. Right leg flat. Left leg flat. Relax. Just breathe in the present moment. Next round, relax your feet and relax your legs. Relax your stomach muscles and relax your shoulders. Relax your arms and relax your hands. Relax the muscles in your face and relax the muscles in your forehead. When your body's totally relaxed, right leg up, left leg up. Arms up to apex. Stay where you are or come up for 20. Up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Right leg down. Left leg down. Arms down. Right leg flat. Left leg flat. Relax. Last round. Body scan technique. Relax the muscles in your feet and relax the muscles in your legs. Relax the muscles in your upper torso. Relax your shoulders. Relax your arms and relax your hands. Relax the muscles in your face and relax the muscles in your scalp and your forehead. Okay, last round, body scan technique. Relax the muscles in your feet and relax the muscles in your legs. Relax the muscles in your upper torso. Relax your arms and relax your hands. Relax the muscles in your face and relax the muscles in your forehead and your scalp. When all your body's totally relaxed, right leg up, left leg up. Arms up to apex. Stay where you are or come up for 60. Up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. Right leg down.
Left leg down, arms down, right leg flat, left leg flat. Now at this point at home, you might want to put a blanket over you to stay warm, and we'll just do a short meditation. Just lie there and focus on your breath. Any thoughts coming in, try to come back to your breath and concentrate on letting all your muscles just flop down. Just meditate for a couple of minutes. And counting down. 5. Coming back to the room. 4. Coming back to the room. 3. Coming back to the room. 2. Coming back to the room. 1. When you're ready, you can open your eyes and take your seat again.
So, how did you get on? Did you enjoy that? Well, I hope you enjoyed that Tibetan relaxation exercise. So next, we'll bring you our guests. Now we're bringing you Graeme Harvey. Okay, Graeme is an expert on the subject of the subconscious mind. Okay, now this is a long interview. We're talking about 45 stroke 47 minutes. So you might want to go and grab yourself a quick drink or a cup of tea or a cup of coffee to watch this interview. It's a long one, but it's full of really good information for you. So if you're happy and you're ready, let's speak to Graeme and let's see what Graeme had to say this week. Run VT.
It's very, very simple. And all I would ask you to do, it's called the 5-minute vacation, but you can use it for as long as you like. Start off by closing your eyes and concentrating on your breathing. And breathe in to 5 and back out to 5. So as you're breathing in, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you do that 5 or 6 times, you will then notice that your body and your mind is relaxing. Because your conscious mind is concentrating on what you're doing, the monkey chatter is blocked out. So once you feel yourself relaxing, then like you to imagine that you're walking through a beautiful forest. I often use rainforest, but it's any kind of forest, basically, that you feel comfortable in, or that you know, there may be a forest locally to you that walk through, and that so you can relate to that. But the walking through the forest eventually leads you to a beautiful golden sandy beach. Brilliant sunny day. The sea is that beautiful azure blue color, and the waves are gently lapping on the shore. Further along the beach is an old ramshackled hut with a veranda. So take your shoes and socks off, or your shoes or stockings or whatever, barefoot, and walk along the beach, feeling that warm sand wrapping itself around your toes, and head towards the hut. When you arrive at the hut, climb onto the veranda, and there you will find a beautiful big sun lounger. Lie down in the sun lounger and just listen to the waves.
So there we had Graeme Harvey, folks. Now, unfortunately, I forgot to say, again, because this is live, that we'd have a short meditation from Graeme first. So you can imagine my surprise when I saw that video and thought, oh no, what's going wrong here? So that was a short meditation that we were going to play for you anyway, and we might just play it again on next week's show as well. So here we are. I'm bringing you the Graeme Harvey actual interview on the subconscious mind. Stay tuned, folks. Don't go away. Let's run VT.
And on today's show, we have Graeme Harvey, who returns, and Graeme is a clinical hypnotherapist. Welcome back to the show, Graeme.
Nice to be here again. Looking forward to it.
So this time, Graeme and I are going to have a chat about the subconscious mind, because the subconscious mind has such a powerful influence over us, and most people don't really know much about the subconscious mind. So the format's going to be, I'm going to throw something into the ring and say what I think, and Graeme's going to say what he thinks based on his own experience of being a clinical hypnotherapist. So Graeme, we're going to start off with the subject of affirmations. Now, I was first introduced to affirmations when I was in the Catholic, brought up in a Catholic primary school, and what we called them Hail Marys and Our Fathers, and we had to repeat these prayers over and over again. And as a child, I used to question, why are we having to repeat this over and over again? This was affirmations. So much later on in life, I've started using written affirmations. There are two types. There are verbal affirmations and there's written affirmations. And I do written affirmations every day to try and see if I can influence the dice, if I can influence my business to perhaps increase clients. And that's why I do written affirmations every day. So Graeme, tell us, what's your view on the power of affirmations?
Affirmations are fine in many ways, but it's depending on what your subconscious is already retaining. As you were saying earlier on, the subconscious is a very, very powerful part of us. For computer geeks, you compare it to the motherboard of a computer. It contains everything that's ever happened during your lifetime. And a lot of those, as we find out through hypnosis, can be referred to as corrupted files, which is what I, as a hypnotherapist, am doing when I'm helping the clients to clear out all the acquired negative emotions attached to, all the bad things that have ever happened to them during their lifetime. And my feeling with affirmations is, unless you've got a fairly clear sheet to work on, affirmations are not going to do you an awful lot of good, because the subconscious, if it's been used to accepting negatives, is not going to take positives on board. It's just going to reject them, because that's rubbish, that's nonsense, that's not what I believe. So often where you see people, particularly with things, and we've discussed this before, I know, books like The Secret, that have appeared in the past, very, very dangerous books for people. We've had just records in the past of people following The Secret and sitting on their backsides for a year waiting for something to happen, and it hasn't happened, and they've ended up, in some cases, even committing suicide, which is not good. So really, affirmations, yes, they will work, providing that they're going on to a clean, clear playing field. There's so many things going around about affirmations. As I say, we've got The Secret, we've got the law of attraction, which many people work on and try and train people in. To me, the one big mistake with the law of attraction is it is just one of 107 universal laws, and they all work together. So you can't just take one law out and expect that to work fully on its own, because as I say, anybody that knows anything about physics or other sciences, nothing works in isolation. There has to be various certain conditions for it to work. So yeah, affirmations, fine. One of the most famous ones was invented by a French guy whose name I can't remember at the moment, but it was that one. I'm sure you've heard it. Every day, in every way, I am getting better and better. As hypnotherapists, some hypnotherapists will use that, implant it in their client's subconscious. And yeah, occasionally it will make a difference. But it's so much like everything else that we see, including all the talk therapies. Cognitive behavioral therapy is one of the ones that springs to mind. Clients end up spending months and months and months talking to a therapist, with the therapist trying to give them positive affirmations. But that is basically like trying to stack goods on a shelf that's already full, because the subconscious bit of the client is going, away you go, you're talking rubbish, that's no right, I'm not accepting that. And yeah, so yeah, months and months and months of hammering, with a ball peen hammer against a blooming concrete block, you might actually eventually start chipping some of it away. So, to really clear out everything first, then you will get the positive reactions. And, when you say to the subconscious, this is who I am, it goes, oh, right, I better get that fixed. And it will start to work on it. So again, it's always using the present tense. Because if you say to subconscious, in 6 months' time, I will be fabulous. Aye, okay, right, I'll maybe get round to that closer to the time. And it never happens. So, as long as you're being positive in the present, using the present tense, you will get a better reaction and a better result. But it's a very, very grey area, to be honest, Vincent.
And the other area that I want to talk to Graeme about is the power of words on the subconscious mind, because we perceive our reality mainly through sight, images, and words, unless of course you're a blind person. But the power of words, I believe, can have an effect on your subconscious mind. So, for example, if I say to you, don't fall on the ice, don't have an accident, the subconscious mind hears fall on the ice, have an accident. What do you think, Graeme?
Um, yeah, that's very true. I mean, one of the classic ones that most of us get taught very early on in hypnotherapy training is don't think of a pink elephant. Now, immediately you say that, everybody gets a pink elephant in their mind. So, yes, I mean, that's very true. Whether or not it will lead you to, if you say don't fall on the ice, you immediately go out and fall on the ice. That's not necessarily the case. But again, that is entirely down to the individual and their powers of concentration. If you know how to walk on the ice and you know that there's a bit of danger, you're going to be more careful about how you walk. So you're less likely to trip and fall. Things can come out of the blue, and knock you over. That's it. But whether you actually, because you've heard those words, have a propensity to do exactly the opposite, so that you will have an accident or whatever, is quite debatable. And to me, certainly, it depends entirely on the individual and their powers of concentration. You're going into a situation, you have been warned that it could be dangerous. So, what do? Your attention span comes up and, you're looking out for the potential dangers and making sure that you can avoid them rather than just walking blindly into something. But I mean, having said that, in many cases, you will see that people aren't aware. And I suppose my point of view comes from years and years and years of experience and training and everything else. And I remember in particular back in the late 70s, early 80s, I got myself a motorbike to, cheap form of transport, get myself backwards and forwards to work. And I found it interesting because, as you're aware, the viewers may not be aware, but, I was a police officer for 16 years. I was highly trained advanced police driver. And my experience on the motorbike was quite interesting because as I was driving along the road, using all my powers of observation, I could see situations arising in front of me, anything, half a mile ahead. But you could see that something wasn't quite right, so you needed to pay attention to it and use a bit more care. And I'd see all these youngsters flying past me on their motorbikes, blindly heading for this crisis or potential crisis situation, and not knowing what they were facing. So, yeah, the caveat on what I've said basically is, again, it goes down to your age, your life experiences, your powers of concentration, etc. So yes, using words can affect people, and it depends on who the subject is and who you've said it to, because you can, certainly, if you were of that mind, you could cause people a lot of problems doing that.
Well, I was talking to Graeme earlier in the week, and I was saying that I remember many years ago when I was at outside a big hospital in Edinburgh, and it had these big giant revolving automatic doors, and on the doors there were 3 words, and the words were something like don't spread infections. And I'm thinking, if my subconscious mind's looking at this door, it's seeing the word spread infections. And I thought, if only the people who put that sign up on the hospital were aware of how the subconscious mind works, they probably would have taken that sign down, or at least changed the words so that the correct programming goes in. So instead of don't spread infections, they could have put up wash your hands or something like that instead, which is a more positive, gives the subconscious mind a more positive instruction. And also the other thing I wanted to talk to Graeme about is the power of images. Images and words have such a profound effect on our imprinting. And I was talking to Graeme, and I was saying that in the 70s they used to have illegal subliminal advertising, which is what they would do is they would put one frame of an image of, say, for example, a can of Coca-Cola in your television, and which normally most people wouldn't consciously see, unless you're a video editor like me and you can see it. But that was actually made illegal because they were trying to influence the masses using images, using subliminal advertising. So images can definitely affect your subconscious. And Graeme was mentioning the power of social media yesterday. Now, in social media, you've got images and words, haven't you, Graeme? Can you tell us what you were saying to me yesterday about social media?
Well, to me, with communication, as human beings, we like to communicate face to face with the person that we want to communicate with, because there are so many things that our subconscious mind is taking on board, like body movement, facial expressions, all those sort of things are all part of the conversation. And by speaking to somebody face to face, then we get a much clearer idea of what they're actually saying. With social media, all you're saying is the written word, and you have no concept of what the person actually means when they are saying that. So we end up with all sorts of fights all over the place for people taking the wrong meaning, taking it upon themselves to feel insulted or berated, and it just ends up in craziness, really. Again, one of the other problems, of course, is coming back to the use of language. The English language, as she is spoke worldwide, is vastly different from country to country. So, different countries put different meanings on words, different pronunciations. Our American cousins are so blooming lazy, they leave lots of letters out of words. But particularly U's and E's. And it always used to amuse me in my days when I did a lot of sailing. We'd sail up to a buoy and hook onto a buoy, but the Americans would call it a buoy. And you're looking at the spelling and saying, where on earth do they get buoy from? But that's it. So, and of course, the different use of words. We have a boot on our cars, and they have a trunk. Then you get into other areas, like you can't talk about having a fag, because that means a gay person in the States. And it means nicotine over here. So again, there's all sorts of issues that you have to be aware of when you're speaking. But certainly social media, because you're not seeing the person as they're actually communicating, it is so open to misinterpretation all the time. and causes, so many lives. I mean, the latest thing is we're now getting into the situation. Black lives matter. Well, of course they matter, but all lives matter. But the minute you say all lives matter, you're immediately attacked because you're being racist. And you think, well, how can I be racist when I'm being all inclusive? And it just gets absolutely wild, and totally out of control.
Yeah, I'd agree. This is my mobile phone, and I have a bittersweet relationship with this thing because this is Pandora's box, and I know that every time I get sucked into looking at this thing, partially I need it for my work. I can't really work without being on social media. Working in media, I've got to be in social media, but I know that every time I go on this thing, I could end up getting into trouble, I could end up being insulted, or I'm going to end up getting angry because I've seen cruelty to animals and I just lose it, and I just have to fire in there when I see cruelty to animals. And it really is, it's a dangerous thing that's good, that every time you get sucked into it, you could get sucked into a lawsuit, or maybe occasionally you might have a nice experience when you go on this thing, but unfortunately, it's something that most of us have to use. But it's also this is a reflection of our real world in this little box, and the real world is in general not a very nice place that I find. But just staying with talking about images, Graeme. When I was talking to Graeme, I was saying that I actually personally avoid watching any things on YouTube such as car accidents, drone accidents, motorcycle accidents, because I think that this might actually influence me to have an accident if I watch these things. Although I do enjoy watching them, they're great fun, but I don't watch any accident videos in case it influences me to have an accident. What do you think, Graeme? What's your view on that?
Well, yeah. Again, I think it goes back to what I was saying earlier on. Um, the less experienced people are in a particular area, if they see lots of dodgy things, relating to that area, they may well, end up having an issue, or having an accident or whatever. It's weird. I mean, to be honest, I love watching all those videos, and there was a series on TV where they were looking at car crashes all around the world and lunatic driving, you know. And as an ex-police officer, I'm sat there absolutely ending myself, going, "Oh, that's another one for the book. That's another one for the book. Yeah, nick him," you know. And he said, "Why did I never see anything like that when I was in the job?" It would have made life so much easier with it. The lack of pressure from senior officers about, you're not putting enough reports in, lad. Oh well, I'll just nip out the high street and get half a dozen now, because that's happening all the time. But it doesn't. Um, Images, again, what I was saying earlier on about words and all the rest of it. Again, it depends on how clear the mind is when you're writing new images into the subconscious. It will affect some people, it won't affect others. And if you think that you have a propensity towards being affected by the images, then get your subconscious to be aware of that and heighten its observation, and we get the primeval part of the mind working, because that's where the fight or flight reactions are. The survival actions are way down there, buried absolutely deep in the primeval mind, or the primeval part of the mind. So yeah, Yes, people can be affected and others not. Comes back to one of my favorite sayings over the years. And again, it's upset a few people, but on the other hand, it's made a lot of people laugh. And the other day, a colleague of mine posted something on Facebook about the current situation, and I just put, so has anybody had any aha moments while they've been in lockdown? And I just put, yes, I have found the answer to the great question, is there intelligent life on Earth? And the answer is yes, but I'm only visiting. So it's up to us all as individuals to have a look at what's happening in our lives, become aware of the things that might affect us, and basically take precautions. We at the moment, none of us are going to walk into a hospital without grabbing hold of PPE. So why not have some type of mental PPE when you're getting involved in various different situations?
So the other thing that the other subject I want to ask Graeme about is, does someone's level of anxiety and stress affect the subconscious mind? And I'll just give you an example of what happened to me a few years ago. My anxiety levels were rocketing. I'd just come out the community swimming pool after having a good swim, and then I got into my car and I just noticed that the car next to me had a big bash in it. And then about an hour later, I somehow managed to reverse my car straight to someone else's car, and I couldn't believe how it could possibly have happened. All I knew was my anxiety levels were really high. So there, you've got high anxiety levels, and you've got the image of the bashed car, and then suddenly I bash my car. Graeme, can you tell us, do you think that that someone's anxiety levels, if they're particularly high, can they affect the subconscious mind in a negative way to produce negative outcomes?
Simple answer to that is absolutely yes. Over the years, medical scientists identified back in the late 50s, early 60s, that they first of all identified the correlation between stress and the damage to the psyche and the immune system. And further exploration identified that it was the accumulation of stress during the person's lifetime that would cause them to adopt various coping mechanisms. Those coping mechanisms will fall into one of three categories. They either pick up behaviors that are addictive, they will have behavioral issues like anger, violence, or that sort of thing, or the psychosomatic illness disorder. So we have things like irritable bowel syndrome, asthma, psoriasis, skin infections. All these sorts of things are all as a result of accumulated stress. The higher your stress levels are, the less powers of concentration you have. So, you had a good swim, but you go back in your car, you must have had a certain level of stress anyway. That thing of the big dent in the car next to you would fire something off and increase the stress levels even further, which would then reduce your powers of concentration. So when you were reversing, instead of concentrating on how far back you were going, you didn't do that, and the result was you collided with another vehicle. So yeah, stress does alter so much, within the subconscious, and our powers of thinking and everything else. And this is why I work in hypnotherapy the way that I work, because the basic hypnotherapy training is you're taught all sorts of methods of dealing with issues, and these issues are from symptoms. So somebody comes in, they're anxious. Somebody comes in nail biting. Somebody might come in pulling their hair out. Somebody has a fear of needles, phobia of dogs or spiders or whatever. These are all symptoms. Now, you're taught various different methods to deal with all these symptoms. But unless you clear out everything underneath, those symptoms are liable to return or be replaced by something much worse. So, okay, I sometimes wake up and think, that I'm kind of like Galileo, when Galileo said that the Earth orbited the sun and not the other way around, and got slated for it, because over the years with the way I work, I've been slated by many of the die-hard, stick in the mud Luddites in the hypnotherapy profession, who stick rigidly to their unitary training, and you must do this if it's that, and you must do that. And my answer is, no, you don't. You allow the client to clear everything out, and then and it has to be in the same session, you then rebuild the self-conscious, the self-esteem, and you can factor in their desired outcomes. So it's quicker, it's longer lasting, and it's also seriously damaging to the bank balance for a lot of these people that have to have clients coming in for blocks of 12 sessions. And, I just sit back and think, what the hell are they doing with them? But that's another area to have a look at another time. So yeah, stress, helping people relieve stress, because stress is basically anger. Something annoys you, that's stressing you out, but it's also anger because you haven't dealt with it. You haven't been able to deal with it and kick it into touch. So it's sitting there festering. And the more it festers, the more angry you get. And until you release that anger, then lots of other things tend to sort of go out the window, including concentration.
And so last of all, we're actually going to speak to Graeme about the subject of hypnosis. Now, my question, Graeme, is, can anyone be hypnotised?
The simple answer to that is yes, if they want to be. Hypnosis is a two-way street, and as hypnotherapists, our aim is to work with the client and to bypass the conscious part of the mind and communicate with the subconscious. I mean, I refer it to the subconscious because that's what most people understand. Other people have different names for it, and some scientists will go off in all sorts of weird and wonderful directions, giving it all sorts of names. But basically, it's if you as a potential client are prepared to work with the therapist and follow the therapist's instructions and work with them, you can go into a state of deep relaxation, whatever, where the therapist can bypass your critical mind and speak directly with your subconscious, because that's where all the information is held. consciously you can probably cope with 2 or 3 things. So if I say to you, for example, I want you to concentrate on your breathing. So count in up to 5, from 1 to 5 as you're breathing in, and then count back out from 5 down to 1 as you breathe out. And just do that and that. You very quickly find that's all you can think about. All the monkey chatter on your 2 shoulders, the little devils out there, totally silent, because you are concentrating on that. Now, the subconscious, on the other hand, is taking in thousands of bits of information every minute. And they're all being sorted out, stored away, recorded, discarded, whatever. Right? There isn't going to be a problem. We can walk safely down that street. Fine, bang, off we go. Or hang on a minute, that doesn't look too healthy on there. Let's take a little detour and we'll avoid that. So, but all of that is working away subconsciously. Yourself, you jump in your car and you're going to drive to a client's premises or a film location or whatever. You pull up at the location. How much of that journey can you remember? Not a lot. Because most of the time you're on automatic pilot. If anything happens along that route, bang, the conscious will kick in and you'll deal with it. But the rest of the time, it's a subconscious. So getting people into hypnosis is the easiest thing in the world, providing the person wants to cooperate. You'll see from time to time all sorts of rapid induction techniques that people use, street hypnotherapists, stage hypnotherapists. But whatever you see on film doesn't show that they've actually spoken to the person. They're not just walking up to them and going, bang, sleep, like that. They've actually spoken to them prior to that and say, are you prepared to, work with this? There are a number of people that are convinced they can't be hypnotized. Some people with a certain brain set, some people that are very analytical, for example, can be difficult to get into hypnosis. But again, there are induction techniques which completely bamboozle them. And the next thing they know, they're waking up an hour later, coming out of a hypnotherapy session saying, what the heck happened there? Anybody can, providing that they are willing to cooperate.
So the next thing I want to ask Graeme is self-hypnosis versus hypnosis. So, for example, someone's got a problem, they think, I'm going to get myself a self-help book out, Waterston's, here's one on how to use your subconscious mind, and I'll do the techniques and I'll solve my problem. But what if that problem is quite serious and you need that solved now? Graeme, are people wasting their time with the self-help books? Are they better just coming to someone like yourself and getting that problem sorted now, rather than trying to motivate themselves to do the exercises every night and so
on? Again, simple answer, and it's from my own experience, because I'm absolutely rubbish at self-hypnosis. When I developed my process, the clearing protocol, I produced an MP3 version of it, so when any therapist around the world buys a copy of the clearance protocol, I email it to them along with a link to download the MP3 version. I am not alone, because I've had a number of colleagues who bought that, have come back to me and said, I have never ever heard the end of that MP3. I just fall asleep, you know. The big problem with self-hypnosis is, yeah, you can determine and try and input what you want or to get rid of what you don't want. But at the end of the day, it will only be a very temporary fix. Whereas if you're working with a therapist who's then guiding you through it, then to me, it works far more effectively. Once you've had all the garbage and that cleared out, yeah, don't worry about self-hypnosis. Do meditation. It's the same thing at the end of the day. You know, for hypnosis, read meditation. You know, you chill out, clear your mind, allow whatever to come into it. But again, guided meditations are often better because they will, you know, they will allow you to concentrate on certain issues. I've had a few interesting experiences both with guided meditations and with, you know, hypnosis myself. I did have a colleague work on me with my clearance protocol because one of the reasons I got into hypnotherapy fairly late on in life, excuse me, was the fact that, you know, I had accumulated a hell of a lot of stress, trauma. You know, I was suffering from post-traumatic stress. And by the way, there is no D in post-traumatic stress. It is not a disorder. It is a serious level of stress. Right, off my soapbox again. Now, working that way was really what helped me and what got me into hypnotherapy. Thinking, well, you know, if it's helped me, then I'll be able to help lots of other people. What I took during my studies of that was that certain people work and they will do a certain amount with a client. But my belief is that you can never leave a vacuum. So if you've cleared everything out, there's room for all sorts of things to drop back in. So if you replace all the old stuff that we've got rid of with the new positive stuff, the subconscious is then working on that to ensure that that happens. So there's no room for anything odd to come in. And this is what you can't do doing self-hypnosis. You know, my MP3, for example, will take you through the process to clear everything out, and then it will, you know, go on to rebuild the self-esteem and self-confidence, but it can't factor in the individual client's desired outcomes. You know, we'd have to make separate MP3s for everybody, you know, for every individual person. And this, to me, is where I see with self-hypnosis, you can only go so far with it. You know, once you've got to a certain level, yeah, then we come back to the sort of the affirmations and everything else. You know, for example, like athletes and athlete performance. I recently had a kid, teenage boy, 16 years of age, brilliant footballer, couldn't get accepted by professional clubs because they didn't think that he worked hard enough, and he, you know, he didn't appear to be a team player. Very, very skilled. Did a session with him and factored in that he was a hard-working team player. Following night, had a phone call from his dad saying, "Don't know what you've done to him, but before he came to see you yesterday, he did a 5K exercise on the treadmill in the gym. Took him 47 minutes. Today, he's done it in 32 minutes. Now, just by self-hypnosis, that kid would never have done that because he wouldn't have had the knowledge or the instruction to go into it. It's a simple example, but I think you get the gist of what I'm saying.
So you want to get in touch with Graeme? Graeme, how do people contact you?
Quite easy. You can contact me by email, which is on my website, which is www.censcot, CENSCOT, hypnotherapy.co.uk. Censcot basically stemmed from me being lazy, and it's actually short for Central Scotland. But with this current situation, when we're dealing with everybody on the internet, I work worldwide these days. But yes, I'm based in Central Scotland. For those, when circumstances allow, to come and visit me, that's fine. I'm not too far away. I have a Facebook page as well, Scott Therapy, so you're always welcome to come and have a look on there. There is a video on that page which explains a lot more about my clearance protocol. So if you're interested in that, I get away with saying all sorts of things like that. One of my favorite ones is that, to watch somebody regressing somebody to a particular issue, to me, is like watching a surgeon remove a tumor and ignore all the secondaries. And it is exactly that. The other thing I'd like to put in about hypnotherapy, hypnotherapy is not new. Hypnotherapy is basically the second oldest profession in the world. It was around and in use in the sleep clinics of ancient Egypt and ancient Greece. It was a Scotsman that coined the name hypnotherapy or hypnosis, and that was a Scottish surgeon called James Braid back in about 1848. And there was another brilliant Scottish surgeon called John Esdale who used hypnosis for anesthesia. And he performed over 1,800 surgeries as an army surgeon. So that involved amputations and all the rest of it, and never lost a patient. And they found that the healing time was far quicker. It kind of got blocked out because people invented ether and chloroform, and it was a lot easier to soak a rag and stick it over somebody's nose and knock them out. Than spend time hypnotizing them. But again, it's coming back into use now. Lots of dentists are getting involved. You can completely numb the mouth by thinking about it. Some surgeons are using it in brain surgery now, whereby they need to be able to communicate with the patient during the surgery to ensure that certain things are no longer happening. So yeah, it is a very, very powerful tool, but so helpful, and gets rid of all sorts of pills and potions and everything else that do you more harm than good. But I'll stay off the soapbox, guys. If anybody wants to contact me, as I say, you can meet me on my website. The email address is there. The telephone number's there. So yeah, email me, call me. Always happy to have a chat.
Graeme Harvey, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So that was Graeme Harvey there, and you can get in touch with Graeme if you want to find out how to use hypnotherapy to deal with any problems you've got in life. And just after watching that chat with Graeme, one thing that is significant is that words and images can affect the subconscious minds of some of the people some of the time, but not all of the people all of the time. And I've also got this little prop with me. I found these cards, and I got these as a Christmas present from my sister many years ago. And these are Louise Hay's affirmation cards. And these ones that I've got here are for wealth. And the idea is that you stick them up all over your house so that every time you're going to the bathroom or the kitchen or the living room, you notice the basic simple message. And the idea is for these messages of wealth to go into your subconscious mind and help you produce more wealth. So I've actually sellotaped this together because the cards I've had them for so many years. We'll just mix to a different our webcam here to give you a closer look. Here's the cards, and here's an example of some of the cards. So if I can I read this in my own camera? Um, Today is a I'll just do it the old-fashioned way. I'll just read it. Today is a delightful day. Money comes to me in expected and unexpected ways. So that goes up on, that could go up on the kitchen in the kitchen on the fridge. Here's another one. I radiate success and prosper wherever I turn. That's another one that could go up on the toilet door. This one, I am now willing to be open to unlimited prosperity that exists everywhere. So there's lots of these cards. There's plenty. There's about 20 or so cards in the pack, and I think that they cost about £4.99 sterling or $5.95 in America. But imagine if you used these cards and you were using it to get yourself some money, and say, for example, you suddenly won the lottery, or you got an unexpected inheritance from a relative you didn't know, or you land that job, that well-paid job you've been trying to get, then perhaps the investment of $4.99 in these cards is well worth it. However, remember, folks, with this stuff, as Graeme was saying, it'll work for some people, but not necessarily everyone. Now, before we finish up the show, I want to talk about another aspect of creating your own reality, another technique. Now, I learned this technique from a lady who's what's called a personal development coach, and I used to see her and have sessions with her because I was trying to get myself out of a horrible job, which was long hours, lots of night shifts, and I wanted to do media production instead, but I just couldn't. I seemed to be in a rut. So this lady that I went to see, a very interesting lady, almost a female magician, if you like, she gave me techniques and things to read and things to try and again see if I could influence the roll of the dice to land on 6. And one of the techniques that I'm going to share with you is called fake it till you make it. Now, fake it till you make it can be used in a positive way. It can also be used to deceive others. So I'm going to give you some examples of a positive way to use it, and I'll give you a couple of examples of how people have done it, but they've been deceiving other people. And I'm sure if you deceive people karmically, it'll come back on you. You know, what goes around comes around. So I'll give you an example. When I was younger, I wanted so much in life to have a motorbike, and motorbikes are still, even to this day, quite an expensive toy to have. And I wanted this motorbike, and I wanted it so badly. So I knew about the fake it till you make it technique. So what I used to do was I used to try and program my subconscious mind to manifest a motorbike. And one way I would do it would be by going out with motorcycle groups as a pillion passenger. And I did have enough money to buy all the gear, the jacket, the boots, the trousers, the gloves. So I used to go out on my weekends as a pillion, And I used to walk down the street and to the meeting point, and people walking past me would assume that I must be a motorbiker. Well, I was and I wasn't. And I had my helmet and everything. What I was doing is I was trying to get the subconscious mind to accept the fact that I have a motorbike, even though I didn't have one. So I used to do that. I used to walk about. I used to wear motorcycle clothes every and any opportunity. I could, even if I was just going down to the supermarket to get my weekly shopping, I'd wear my biker jacket and get into the part of being a cyclist. Sure enough, a few years later, I was a motorbiker. I could afford to have a motorbike, and I have had quite a few motorbikes in my time. So I did actually manifest what I wanted in the end. Now that was something that I did, and which did no harm to anyone at all. Where people go too far with fake it till you make it, I'm going to give you a couple of examples that I've heard on the media, on the radio, and just through word of mouth. And one was the case of a man whose dream was to be a paramedic, but for whatever reason he couldn't. He wasn't an actual paramedic. He wasn't employed as a paramedic. He wasn't actually qualified as a paramedic. But what he did was he used to dress up in the in the UK they wear the green uniform with the yellow high vis jacket. He had that. He had all the radio. He had his own ambulance, completely equipped with all the equipment that you need to have to deal with emergencies. So you'd sit there in his fake ambulance and listen to the radio, and he'd hear about an emergency, and he would actually turn up to emergencies and treats people who'd been in accidents, or maybe they had a heart attack or something. And he was doing this. I understand eventually got caught. Eventually someone realised, wait a minute, this guy's not an actual paramedic affiliated with a hospital or NHS or Bupa or anyone like that. He's not actually affiliated with the emergency services. So I would imagine, I don't know what happened to him. I don't know what the consequences were, but I would imagine he probably didn't do it again. Because when you think about it, if someone had have been in an accident and they died, and he had been responsible, he was there treating them and they died, and if it's the case that he didn't do what he should have done because he wasn't actually officially a paramedic with the official training, the consequences for him would have been probably a jail sentence, I would imagine. So that's an example of what not to do. That's an example of how not to fake it till you make it. You know, it's okay to fantasize, but don't actually do it. You know, don't dress up in your policeman's uniform and start walking about the streets and dealing with public inquiries. I wouldn't recommend it, because eventually someone's going to catch you out somewhere. Now, the other story of fake it till you make it, that's my main key light gone out, but never mind. We'll keep going. I'm not going to start switching lights just now. Maybe I can bring my lamp closer to me and it'll illuminate me a bit better. There we are, by candlelight. Well, it's not really candlelight, it's an electric light. Oh, even my electric light's gone out. No, it's back. So, as I was saying before the tech, see, this is live. This is what happens when you go live. Yes, the other story I want to tell you about is the lady, and I heard this on the radio just recently, actually. It was a few months ago. A lady who was a practicing psychiatrist in Australia for 25 years. Turns out she's got no qualifications in psychiatry whatsoever. So she obviously was in love with the idea of being a psychiatrist. And after 25 years, presumably she was able to actually do the job, because as being a psychiatrist, you have to know about medication and chemistry and complicated things like that. Eventually, she gets caught and it's discovered that she's not actually qualified as a psychiatrist. And I don't know what the consequences for her were, but she's obviously not going to be practicing in her practice anymore after basically being a fake. So those are two examples of how you should not fake it till you make it. As long as you're not deceiving other people out of money or pretending to be a highly skilled, qualified practitioner doing that work when you're not actually qualified. It's always best to just get the qualifications, get qualified, and then do it. And if you can't get qualified, find something else to do instead, or something similar. But it's not worth landing yourself in jail or being in the newspapers or on TV the next day. I mean, there's nothing worse than getting caught. But also, when when you've ended up on the media, people from all around the world will remember you for that. So we've come to the end of the show. It's been a good long show tonight. All that remains for me to do is thank our guest tonight, Graeme Harvey, and also our raconteurs tonight who joined us, who made this show very special. We had William Ritchie, Carson Quisler, Laura Binney. So thank you all to you, and thank you our viewers as well who are watching. Thanks for joining us at this time. I hope you've enjoyed our meditation practice tonight and enjoyed listening to some of the interesting topics that Graeme Harvey brought up. And we've just got a message here from Carson Quisler saying, "Catch Me If You Can, movie about young man in the 60s who passed himself off as a pilot, banker, lawyer, and a hospital consultant." Well, Carsten, you are psychic. You have psychic powers, because the very film I was going to recommend tonight, an inspirational film, is in actual fact Catch Me If You Can, starring DiCaprio, Leonardo DiCaprio, and I enjoyed watching this movie. It's got Tom Hanks as well, and a true story about a young guy whose father's business has gone down the drain, and he's trying desperately to do something to stay financially alive. And he kind of discovers that he's good at conning people, and he cons people in all sorts of ways. But if you watch the movie, you'll see it's either at the start or at the end, or maybe at the credits at both the start and the end. It's the little mouse, and it's an animated mouse, and it's scurrying, and it's trying to escape from something. It might be a cat, or it might be an imaginary predator. But this little mouse is escaping and getting out of one situation, and then escaping, and it's very much like the character that DiCaprio plays, who's Frank Abagnale, and he's constantly on the run from the authorities, being chased by Tom Hanks, who's with some organization. It might be the FBI, probably the FBI, and Frank Abagnale pretends to be a doctor. He pretends to be an airline pilot, so he dresses up like an airline pilot. He dresses up like a doctor. He dresses up like a lawyer, and actually, he did actually pass his lawyer's exams through watching a TV show about lawyers, which is actually something else that you can watch some TV programs and actually learn some really good information from just watching some soap operas or shows about a certain type of job. But again, I'm not saying don't watch these hospital shows and then try and pass yourself off as a hospital doctor or a nurse. Not recommended. But Catch Me If You Can. It's a really inspirational film. Again, it's about the human spirit trying to rise above the oppression. And in this case, the oppression of Frank Abagnale was that his father's shop, his business, was not given help when it was going downhill. So young Frank had to do what he needed to do to try and just have some wealth and have some money. And he is living a quite an exciting existence. And I'm not going to say too much about the film because I don't want to spoil you, but it's a true story, and this was actually my recommended movie for you to watch if you're in lockdown and you're looking for something to do. Watching inspirational movies and programs is good for mind, body, and spirit. So there we are. Catch Me If You Can, as also mentioned by Karsten Quisler, who got in there before me. Actually, I'm glad you did, Karsten, because I was about to roll the credits and forget to tell you about the movie. So it's all worked out in the end. So now that my lighting's gone down and I'm a bit dark, I think it's time for me to go. I'm off to get my dinner and watch the Ghosties tonight, and perhaps we'll see Laura and Graeme's advert for the SSPCA on Channel 4. So watch out for that, folks. And thanks for watching. Namaste. We will see you next time. Run credits. Bye for now. If I had some credits to run, I would run them. So, I don't have any credits. I'll just have to play the intro credits instead. I'm so disorganized. I'm sorry, folks. Bye for now. We'll see you next time. Roll intro credits.